Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Phantom Zone After Dark. It's going to be
Uh-huh.
very high energy.
Yeah.
I don't even know what month it is.
Wait, but yeah, that's.
It's the first. I can tell you that. It's the first.
I had a Patreon payment go through, so I know it's the first.
I paid my rent today, so it's definitely the first.
Oh, did you finally get paid by your old job?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Good.
I got my last paycheck too, which is good.
Nice. Your QAnon ex-employee buddy.
Yeah, he was holding it back. He was like, "Yo, dude, come on."
Don't give it to this libtard. I've got these things that I need to tell you. Jesus
Give
Christ.
him these Confederate silver dollars.
I need to know how Putin is actually trying to liberate America. That is totally not. That is totally not a rumor that Putin started himself.
Oh well. The most fun one I just saw recently was that Lady Gaga is a pedophile, and she's only a pedophile because she's trying to get adrenochrome from the brains of children.
What?
So wait, so they're basically stealing that bit from South Park with like Gene Hackman? And
they're stealing that thing that, well, or as I put it in the one group, I mean, like, I'll take people who have seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas for 500, Alex. Because that's the drug that Johnny Depp was, or Hunter Thompson was on in the movie when his lawyer is like, oh yeah, go into my shaving kit and grab that brown bottle. This stuff is 10 times more powerful than mescaline, but don't take a lot. And he ends up drinking the whole bottle.
Right, and my understanding is that all of the rumored side effects of adrenochrome come from that film.
It was something that Adolphus Huxley and Hunter Thompson talked about when there were initial studies on it and the potentials of what it could do, but no actual proof. So these people are using like what would be 60-year-old studies at this point, if not older.
Yeah, it's almost like speculating about what bleach could do inside your body, and then actually putting bleach inside your body.
Yeah. So if you take fucking hand sanitizer, you get a needle and a lighter.
Tell me more.
You need to heat it up first.
And that's the cure for COVID?
Yes, cure for COVID. Yes. And you need a spoon too. You need to put the hand sanitizer in a spoon.
Also,
it just makes COVID very drunk.
I feel like this is a good way to tie back into Hunter, you paying your rent, and we should pour one out for the rent being too damn high.
Yeah, the rent is too damn high.
The other part of that Lady Gaga thing is that the way that a lot of these people are claiming that they know she's doing this is because her name showed up on that flight list that changes the names that are on it every 5 minutes to Epstein's Island, the one that's conspicuously missing Donald Trump.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it's almost like it's 4chan's a fucking full of liars.
Jelane's still alive, right? Or Ghislaine?
Yeah, whatever her name is. Giselle, who knows?
Giselle.
No, she's still around, surprisingly. And I'm wondering when she's going to start spilling the beans.
Right.
Oh, I think it probably happened.
Yeah. I'm just wondering what type of deal she worked out then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we introduce ourselves?
Politics, guys. Hey, we don't do that anymore, Lou.
It's a different world, Lou. It's
You can introduce yourself if you want to, but
no, it's okay. Yeah.
It's one of our token people is on this evening.
Thank you.
It's a very special episode, and then the character will be forgotten again for like 6 months.
Hunter's gonna go in the back room with the guy with the bicycle repair shop.
Yeah.
Oh no!
You gonna play Jungle Explorer?
We're gonna go talk about bug snacks.
Yeah, well, there'll be certain types of snacks.
God damn.
These make me sleepy, Mr. Bicycle Shop owner. Just take a shot.
It's so fucked up.
Do you know what Lou is referencing there?
Yeah, it's the I don't know the name. The name of the show, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, God, that.
I feel like it's more. It's like the most famous thing from that show, right?
Yeah, well, there was
the catchphrase.
There was the episode where a mime ended up having a seizure, and the boys both freaked out. And
yeah, talk.
Maybe she was just a street performer of some sort, but she was doing mime. But yeah, I remember that specifically too. Oh, and there was an episode where was it Arnold, or didn't they have like a redheaded kid who was their son at one point? He got kidnapped. That was like a 2-part, very special episode.
Wow.
Bro.
Yeah, I used to watch that show.
Is that the Gary Coleman show?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Eric's the only one old enough to have been a child when it was on.
Yeah.
Right.
And I watched it mostly in repeats too. So yeah, that and Silver Spoons, man. Yeah.
Silver Spoons?
Yeah.
Man, that guy's now a crazy right winger.
Oh, so the one with the white kid who's rich, you like? What are you telling us about you, Hunter? Yeah.
Let's change the subject.
Don't they like adopt like a little black kid? Isn't that the plot of Silver Spoons?
No, it was just a story of a very rich white kid, wasn't it? Or was he adopted? I can't remember.
I thought there was like 2 kids in that show.
Well, no, what was it? Alfonso Ribeiro, I think, was the.
We're talking about a show from like 1982.
Yeah, something like that.
That reminds me of the plot to Blank Check. Is
my
it same
God.
thing? Same thing, right?
Yeah, I don't know what that movie is. I've never seen it.
You've never seen Blank Check?
Oh, Blank Check is awesome because the bad guy is what's his name? Who's like an amazing actor that passed away a while ago. They did like a ton of voice work. Shit.
Like who's the star of Blank Check? Which child actor?
Some kid.
Brian Bunzel?
No idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this might be that weird cutoff where I was a little bit too old for this movie.
It was 1994, so I probably.
Yeah, I was 2 years away from graduating high school.
Yeah.
Miguel Ferreira is the bad guy.
Oh, I know that name. I just don't remember what he was
he's in everything you've ever watched ever and done like all the voice
He was
work.
Deathstroke in the Teen Titans movie.
He's in the original RoboCop. He's one of the guys that works for the company.
Oh,
yeah, he
was in Traffic. He was one of the main like drug traffickers.
Right.
He was also in Halo 2.
Yeah, he's the dickhead coroner from Twin Peaks. He's the one that's
in Twin
Rosenfield. His father was in Dune as the Emperor.
Oh, really?
He's been in stuff for forever. He's in Search for Spock. He's in T.J. Hooker, Trapper John.
Huh.
If you ever watched the made-for-TV movie pilot for that Justice League show, he plays the Weatherman.
That's awesome.
The one with the sweet-ass costumes.
Yeah, the ones that
That's awesome.
glow colors. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess before we hit any of the subjects I mentioned earlier, has anybody been watching anything new or interesting recently?
Rami?
Good question.
Rami?
Oh,
my wife started watching Rami.
Is that on Hulu or is it HBO Max?
I think it's
or
Hulu.
HBO Max, HBO Plus, whatever it is. Okay.
Yeah, it's Hulu. It's really interesting. So it's like it's very New Jersey because it's like he lives in Jersey City, but it's like a 30-something-year-old Egyptian, like first generation American born, kind of dealing with being a 30-something in marriage and everything, or like not marriage, but like trying to settle down and like come to terms with his life, and like dealing with being like a Muslim and trying to be a good Muslim and being American and being like liberal in New Jersey. And it's really so like the first episode was like dealing with like women in relationships, and like he's like, no, like he's talking to a woman's like, oh no, I don't drink. So she, like the woman's like, so you just get women drunk and then you hook up with them? He's like, whoa, that's not what I do. I just don't drink because of my religion. And it's very funny. And one of the guys that's really funny in it is actually like physically disabled, is like his best friend. And it's actually a physically disabled person. And he's fucking hilarious. And the situations that they're in are like kind of awkward in like a very funny way. And it's like cool to see like a show do that, like with an actor, and have them like he has to wipe the guy's ass and like it's like a thing. And he's like, oh, is this all right? He's like, well, now you're just having fun down there, and like it's really funny though, and like I don't know, it's like very Jersey, but it deals with like kind of if you're in that age group, like funny stuff, and it's like a very interesting comedy. I've never seen kind of do that. I've like you've seen it in like with Italian people or like Greek or Hispanic or Black, like doing like a Middle Eastern like guy is something kind of new. And it's like
huge.
Yeah, like seeing it's like it's kind of not sitcom-y, but like kind of that same kind of comedy, but like
slice of life comedy, I believe would be
yeah. And but like seeing it from this angle is like interesting. It's like, it's different, but it's not super different. Like, he has a shitbag racist uncle. Which so everybody has. But like yeah, it's just like, he's Muslim, so he's like super anti-Semitic and super misogynistic, but you're just like it's in like insane ways. It's like, I guess it's not like in every show you kind of have like the creepy weird uncle.
Well, I know in some of the trailers I'd seen that and I can never remember how to say his name properly, so I won't do it disservice by trying to do it now. The guy who's supposed to play Blade in Marvel in the MCU.
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
I haven't gotten to him yet. Yes, he's in the show.
Yeah, I will watch anything that dude is in. I love him. He's a great actor.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's basically got like everybody who's like a major like Middle Eastern actor in it. Like the guy that plays the dad is Amir Wakid, and he was in Lucy, Syriana, Geostorm. Okay. It's like it's pretty much like
you really named some gems there.
Yeah, I'm looking at
Syriana in between two real gems, real just classics. Of
Dude, a lot of his other stuff is like not English.
You know I didn't hate Lucy. I thought it was okay.
Lucy is a movie. Interesting. Lucy is a movie that came out.
It's fun.
Yeah, I'm not giving up on my bit about
it's one of the few movies
every Luc Besson film.
It's one of the few movies where Scarlett Johansson plays a white woman.
Right.
A cis white woman.
Right, yeah. I mean
she really steps out of her box for that one.
Yeah, she's not a robot, she's not an Asian person or trans.
Right.
Oh god. No, that movie where she was playing a trans person never got made, thankfully. She realized the backlash that she was starting to get and was like, I better dip out of this. Because
she was like, wait, but that other guy won an Oscar for doing it.
Oh fuck Eddie Redmayne.
Well,
Jesus
that's timing.
Well, I mean, didn't people freak out about that too?
They did, but he still won an Oscar.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then he did that other Luc Besson movie.
You know what's crazy about Lucy is like people are still hung up on this. You only use 10% of your brain. Isn't that like a complete falsehood?
I feel like that.
Yeah, it's completely like not true. Like
it's one of those things that like there's a lot of stuff that like we don't actively use. That's because it's doing all the background work, like making you continue to breathe and making your body continue to just function. Like just because you're not using it doesn't mean it doesn't have a purpose and isn't being used in some way. So
it's like a computer. Just because all isn't obviously in use doesn't mean that it's not serving a function.
Exactly.
So
I mean, I know in Hunter's it's got a hold like
It's like an SSD. It's like it loads faster in my brain.
You just can't defrag it from all that. You have to.
I'm monkey tonight.
You go ahead. Yeah.
I've been watching regular show, and that show's great.
I think those people just have a new show too, don't they?
Yeah, it's on HBO Max. Yeah,
the regular show's good, and I'm also about to start that new Transformers show, and I'm really excited about it.
There's a new Transformers show.
Yeah, it's dropped on Netflix.
It's called War for Cybertron or something.
Yeah,
and apparently it's really good. So
yeah.
Well, I've heard like Voltron is amazing and She-Ra, so if it's with the like at that level.
Voltron is good up until the ending. Yeah. A whole other thing that we don't.
I never finished Voltron, but like I heard what happens. I was like,
I'm trying to remember. Didn't someone who's well known within within hip hop, I don't want to say real
Snoop
hip
Dogg.
hop. No, somebody did like the soundtrack to that show, or at least the opening song, and I was kind of like, really?
Voltron or Transformers?
Voltron.
The idea
It
of
might be
Snoop Dogg.
crazy. Snoop Dogg.
I can see one of the. I can see one of the Wu-Tang doing it because they're all super secret nerds.
Well, that one's not that crazy though, because a lot of them have been involved in other.
Is it real? Are they really secret nerds, Lou?
Yeah. Or them and what's his name from Run DMC? DMC is also a nerd. He's written comic books.
Right.
I'm trying to find it. I remember hearing about it. I was like, really? Really? That's okay.
Is it Bubba Sparks?
Alex Garingas and Brad Breck. I don't.
Okay.
Those
I don't
sound
know
like
then.
the most rapper names I've ever heard.
Those are the whitest people I've ever heard.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. Give me a break. I'd heard it in passing, and I guess I was wrong.
Here's the thing: this Alex Garingas could just be his real name, and I could look him up on Google right now, and it's he's the other half of Daft Punk or something like that.
I literally typed in hip hop Voltron, and Wikio's article comparing Wu-Tang to Voltron.
Yeah, I see that they form like Voltron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I could have sworn there was somebody that was involved with the soundtrack in one way or another, but I guess I'm wrong.
I mean, honestly, I wish you had been right. I really do. I was rooting for you there for a second.
Oh, it was Master P, because they form like Voltron and make you go, no, 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 no.
Anyways,
it wasn't his son, which I can't remember his name right now.
I also want to watch that Transformers show because apparently it's canon agnostic, it can fit into whatever Transformers canon you choose.
Honestly, at this point, yeah, it should be. There's so much of it.
What was that?
Including Beast Wars? It's canonically connected.
Well, so it's the final hours of Cybertron before the Autobots had to fucking just get out of there and just.
I feel like they did a comic of that not too long ago.
They might have. I watched one of those videos that I think Wired has been doing, or Variety or somebody, where it's this person explains all of this extended canon. They did one for Lord of the Rings, and then they have the producer of this show explaining Transformers. It wasn't as interesting because for the Lord of the Rings one, they got a Tolkien scholar. This is just a guy clearly reading off of Wikipedia and telling you what he remembers of the shows when he had seen them before. And looking at pictures, and you could just tell. But it was still kind of interesting because he gave his insight into the whole reason why they did this show. Apparently, it came from them watching the beginning of Bumblebee, which is a good place to start with for a show. And it was I want that moment of the Transformers before they came to Earth, before all of the adventures that they have had in the ensuing years.
I would watch a movie of just those parts from Bumblebee, because that was amazing, and then the rest of the movie happened, which I was okay with.
It was fine.
Yeah,
it was fine.
It's slathered on the hey, it's the 80s reference a little bit too much for me.
It did feel like a producer was standing in the corner being Stranger Things. We need to do Stranger Things.
Well, for me, it was just I don't know. There was something there were so many music references that's just all right, we get it. You were into stuff that wasn't popular or was left of center then. Yes, you like Morrissey and the Smiths. I know she's wearing a shirt. Cool. And just the music choices right. Sometimes, like I said, it felt like it was just hey, it's the 80s. Hey, look at the 80s going on.
Do you remember the 80s guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like if it came out a couple years earlier, it would be a very different reaction because I think we've been flooded with 80s stuff.
Well, Stranger Things, yeah.
Well, it's also
Stranger Things.
It's also all the people born at that time period are now the ones coming into positions of power. So they're going to try and make everyone love the era that they loved as much as they do. So
I don't remember. There's like Gen X.
yeah, pretty much.
That's
It's all the Gen Xers.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
That's
me.
you, right?
Yep, that's
Yeah.
me. Yeah,
I'm a
I'm-
millennial.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hunter, are you a Gen Y?
I'm
Or
Hunter's
Gen
birthday's
Z.
before mine, isn't it? Isn't it
I'm
like
April 11th, 1995. So
You
Oh,
have to
okay.
Google
So I
I
am.
think I might be Gen X.
I'm
No, you're not
Not Gen
cutoff
X.
of
I mean
Y.
Gen Y. Yeah.
Yeah. Hunter's actually after me. I'm like literally the cutoff is like June of '94, and I'm May of '94.
Oh, so
Um,
you get to be a millennial with me, and then Hunter's a Gen Y. So
Yeah.
we could burn his tall ass at the stake.
Right. Exactly.
Hey, whoa!
as-
Gen Z is the one who ate Tide Pods. Let's get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by steak, I mean we gotta cut down a redwood.
Damn it. We got to go for that second brain. Only a redwood can penetrate the
Yeah.
skin.
Only
And
that
get
is
in there.
strong
You have
enough to
two
kill
of
it.
every organ. Is that how you stay alive at your height?
Well, no, I would imagine like he has multiple stomachs as opposed to needing to have
Right.
multiple intestines. That way, it's well digested
Mhm.
before it gets to his lower intestinal tract.
Yeah. I'm kind of like a baby bird. Like, you know.
I would really birds don't have multiple stomachs. You're thinking
No,
cows.
cows do. Cows have
What I
like
mean
seven.
is, my food has to be chewed prior.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Is that why you have
Yeah.
roommates? All right.
And
that's-
someone has to
yeah,
spit it
yes.
in your mouth, right? Is that part of
Yeah,
it?
Right. Yeah.
exactly.
It's specifically Alicia Silverstone. For those who don't
That's
know.
okay. Oh, I actually didn't get the reference, and then I remembered and got the reference.
Yeah, yeah.
Also,
But
just
the
made
whole
me
second brain
flashback
thing
to
comes from Godzilla, so it really just it's Godzilla rules, really.
Exactly.
Yeah, Hunter's been hiding a tail for a while now.
I also feel like if Hunter bends over too far, he'll just die.
Yeah,
Because
true.
all the blood will rush to the top of his head.
Right. It's like when you
Yeah.
flip a shark over. It's just, yeah. Anyways,
Mm.
One other thing I've watched, I actually just finished watching it before this.
Yeah.
I caught up on Stargirl, which is strangely really good. And
Interesting.
they have dropped some crazy ass references. So I'm gonna say spoiler warning for people, but like, do you guys care if I say any things?
Not one bit.
Nope.
by the time I watch this, I will have forgotten.
Okay. So the opening of episode 1, first off, shows Solomon Grundy, like real deal.
Okay.
Solomon
shit.
Like ripped up suit Solomon Grundy.
Like gigantic Hulk size smashing a car and killing people.
Okay. All right.
Oh, wow.
All right.
And more recently, they revealed that the 7 soldiers exists in this world, and that Starboy and Stripesy were part of them. And we are revealed one of the members is in the show, which is very obvious if you notice any context clues. Although they went with the older version and not the Grant Morrison version of this character, which is kind of sad.
Which character was it?
Shining Knight.
Oh, okay. And sorry to interrupt, but real quick, I was thinking of Voltron Force, which was on Cartoon Network, and it was Swizz Beatz who did the theme song.
Oh,
Continue.
that was the CGI
Wait,
one.
what?
Yeah, Swizz Beatz did the theme song for Voltron Force.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Anyways, back to Stargirl.
It's really good. Like it's kind of what the Runaways should have been, where it's very focused on the kids, and then all the adults are basically all the villains, and everyone's like all good character actors. Everyone's doing like stuff, and it's like fucked up at points. Like I think they've killed like 4 children in the show this season.
All right.
Wait. Okay. Here's an important question. Which version of Stripesy? Is it the one with the mech suit?
Both.
Wait, what?
Oh wow.
So in the beginning. So okay, I guess So the beginning of it is OG JSA. So it's him in the shirt with Starman, which is played by what's his name? Joel.
Oh yeah, I remember
Last of
seeing
Us?
it.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No, Joel, who used to host
Talk Soup.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh, Joel McHale?
Joe
Yeah.
McHale, he's in it for like 2 minutes. He plays
Stole my
Starman.
dad's acting career.
They show him. They show Our Man. You see Green Lantern, Alan Scott stuff in the background.
Oh, that's cool.
Whoa.
You see Wildcat and
Yeah. Okay.
I can't remember the other characters. And then they are all murdered by the JSI or the Injustice Society, including Solomon
What?
Grundy. That's where the show starts in 1990.
Question.
So it sounds like they're going real hard with the references and just not caring.
I
That's
might-
awesome.
Oh
I might
yeah,
watch this. Honestly,
it's coming to CW, so which is basically also the
is
end
it
of
coming
the
to
DC
HBO
universe.
Max?
No, it's going to CW.
It
It
will
also
go on Max
looks
eventually though.
Yeah, it also looks way more expensive than anything on CW and Titans as well.
Well, that won't last. Give it
No.
time. Give it time.
But yeah, they deal with like some cool teenager high school stuff, like one of the character stuff gets like posted about them and like ruins their life, and then kind of dealing with this mixed marriage family, because the Luke Wilson is Stripesy, and the wife is what's her name from like Road Trip and Crank. Amy
Not Poehler. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Amy Poehler.
Yes, Amy Poehler. Yeah, no, I know exactly who you're talking about. All right, wait,
Yeah.
because you said mixed marriage. Wait, what?
Like, or they're it's like what do you call it? Like she has a daughter, he has a son.
Yeah, a blended family or whatever.
Blended
it is.
family.
Yeah.
That's probably
I was
the
going to
better
say,
term.
if it was a mixed marriage, I'm not watching that show.
Yeah, and like the costumes look goofy. Yeah, Amy Smart. The costumes look goofy in stills, but they actually look pretty good in like action. And yeah, they've done some like really crazy stuff. And then one of the references was to I always forget this character's name because I never really read anything with him. But the genie character that was part of the JSA.
Oh yeah,
Johnny Pen.
Yeah, like
Johnny Thunder.
Johnny Thunder. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the word to get him out is like so cool or something like that. I can't remember exactly.
Because he shows her like the JSA like hideout, and he has like all weapons. And then he's like, she like picks up the pen, like, what is this? He's like, do not touch that. That's like the most dangerous weapon in all of creation, and like puts it down.
When does this take place?
I think it takes place now. They have the internet and everything.
So it's not the 1940s.
No, the opening of the show takes place somewhere in the 90s.
Interesting. Okay.
And like superheroing exists, but no one seems to give a shit. Because like she's like,
it'd be like if superheroes existed in the real world.
Yeah, so she's like, wait, who are the Justice Society? He's like, how do you not know? Like, we saved the world a bunch of times. And she's like, I don't know. That was like some old dudes. Like, what do I care?
Right. It's like people who don't know who Tank Man is.
Busy tweeting. Leave me alone.
Come on, bro.
And yeah, it's interesting. Like the villains, like they like kind of give them a point too. Like you kind of get where they're coming from, and then Tigress and Sportsmaster are in it.
That's awesome. I kind of like that.
So this sounds like it's a lot of fan service to like.
Oh, it is
dyed in the wool DC fans.
I'm kind of really interested in this. Honestly,
and what I like about Tigress, and because they turned old Huntress into Tigress, and Sportsmaster are a couple, and they're like the shittiest parents at the high school that are way too involved.
Oh damn.
Nice.
And they actually have their daughter is Artemis.
That's a picture.
Here, I'll share a picture of them. It again, everything looks worse in stills because like they really don't just stand around and like sit there
and pose.
That's not too bad for like Sportsmaster. That's fine.
Yeah, and like they show him and like when he's doing stuff, like it looks like he's like, oh, he'll flip a ball and like hit it with a bag and like just crack someone in the head. Like the ball, it's like, oh, if you got hit in the head with a ball going like 100 miles an hour, you would probably be dead.
Yeah.
Damn, that Solomon Grundy is great. Like you can tell he's CGI, but damn, that's
I think it looks fucking rad.
Well, he's kind of
that it helps,
Yeah.
even if
And
the
he's being
CGI
treated as like Chekhov's Grundy, where like every time it's like, oh, there's a door, and he's behind the door, and you just hear it. It's like, oh, don't go by that door.
context of the saying, and it's like Solomon Grundy hanging up on a wall somewhere or a fireplace on a rack.
No, with the inclusion of Solomon Grundy, that makes me wonder if they're going to tap into some of the Robinson run on Starman, because Grundy, mind you, he was a different version of Grundy, but was super heavily involved in that. And I know that's where like that the rod that she's using comes from, and she was the one who became Star Person after Jack Knight wasn't Starman anymore.
Yeah, so I don't. It's kind of they've constantly said like nobody knows where the rod comes from. Luke Wilson's like, yeah, he was the Star Spangled Kid, and then the rod just found him, and he's like, no one knows where the rod is from.
Weird.
Yeah,
Well,
and the rod
maybe.
is like it has a mind of its own. It's like a character. It moves around on its own.
That's very different.
Interesting.
Yeah. Still, I mean, this all sounds like stuff I could get behind until I get bored of it after the 15th episode in the season.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. I think it's only been 12 or 13. So yeah, I think I only have one more episode left.
I mean, it sounds like the people working at DC have been listening to our show and they took some notes.
Or they've just been listening to anyone who watches TV, and it's like, I can't do it. I can't do it anymore.
No more.
No, please. Arlen, have you been watching anything new or interesting recently?
I mean, I did watch a movie, but I do want to say this real quick. The new season of Umbrella Academy. I'm really digging it. I mean, I dug the first season, so no surprise. But those first few minutes, which I held off from watching till it dropped, gold. Just absolute gold. Fantastic stuff.
You're the second person I've heard say that. I'm going to start it tomorrow, maybe.
I need to go back and restart the first season because my wife and I were into it pretty heavily, and then I got hit with a stomach bug, and we were trying to watch it while I was recovering, and I was just in the haze of being in and out of sleep, so I don't remember a whole lot of what was going on. So yeah, I just need to go back and rewatch all the first season because it's good. It was doing a good job of adapting the two that were out at the time volumes of the comic. So I'm totally there for that.
Yeah, I personally have on the comic show, like with Siler talked about, like I like the show better than the comic.
I understand that
because like it's more coherent and explains the world a bit more than just throwing you in.
Well, I mean, it's Gerard Way like doing his best Grant Morrison impression.
Yeah,
you know, and it's fine. It works for what it is. I mean, I just enjoy the comic because of the is it Ba or Moon who's doing the artwork in the comic? I can't remember.
I think it's Ba.
Okay,
he's credited in the show. That's the only reason I know that.
Yeah, I mean, because they're he and his brother are great. Like the one comic they did, Day Tripper, is phenomenal. But yeah, I really like his artwork. It's really good. So that's why I'm really into the comic.
Yeah, and you're reminding me, like, isn't Doom Patrol like wrapping up or done? Which also is kind of connected to Way, since isn't Crazy Jane his character?
No, that's Grant Morrison. All the characters in the show are Grant Morrison's.
I feel like they borrowed something in season 1 from Way's run.
Yeah, because they changed. I always forget her name. The stretchy girl's powers.
Oh yeah. Well, she wasn't involved.
Elastigirl.
She wasn't really in the Morrison run.
Yeah.
Like the Morrison run was Negative Man, Robot Man, or Mr. Negative Robot Man, that ugly girl that just got introduced in this season. Crazy Jane, and I think
Flex Mentala.
Yes, well, he didn't show up until later in the Morrison run.
Yeah. Which he also does in the show.
Yeah, and he makes everybody come. Yeah.
Except for Robot Man. Also, possibly Brendan Fraser's greatest performance of all time.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, I've heard he's really good in that. Although, have you guys ever watched, it was an FX series, Trust? It was about the Getty kidnapping.
No, I never did.
I feel like I've heard about this. Yeah.
It's so good. Like my wife and I started watching it just randomly, and like this was when it was first coming out, and we were completely hooked. Like it's so goddamn good. Like Donald Sutherland is playing the head Getty, whatever his name is, and he's such a good bastard in the show. And Brendan Fraser is playing like an investigator for him, essentially, like a fixer. And
I like his cowboy hat.
Well, he's playing the same person that Wahlberg played in the movie.
Okay, I haven't seen the movie, so because that was the thing.
The movie is the one that
I
they
unfortunately have seen the film,
and that's the movie that with what's his name that they replaced, right?
Plumber. Yeah,
yeah, Plumber replaced.
You mean Max von Sydow? Yeah,
same person.
Yeah,
it's a good thing that Max von Sydow didn't have to come in to replace Sutherland. That would have been a bummer.
That would have been weird. Yeah,
that would have been real strange.
Yeah, no, I think that was the thing too, is like my wife and I watched that series, and it's like 10 episodes, 8 episodes, something like that. So we got an 8-hour story, as opposed to, as much as I like Ridley Scott, a 2.5 hour, maybe 3-hour version of the story. Like it's really good. Like,
isn't that like all things though are better for the most part when you air them out a little bit?
Yeah, for the most part, except for the Flash. Of Tomorrow, Supergirl, and
all those shows.
All those shows, I just don't care. That's my main thing. If you say that it's good, I might actually check it out, because especially when it comes to FX, I really trust your taste. Since we're pretty in sync.
Yeah, we're pretty aligned on that.
Yeah. Basically the same person.
Yeah. Yeah, when it comes to FX in particular, yes.
What?
when it comes to goblins, though, very good.
Wow!
Donde está?
God damn it! God damn it!
Que pasa?
Anyways, I might check it out. I just did not care about the Ridley Scott movie, and that might just be that movie. But I just did not care.
It's also like that was a movie that had like 18 pounds of like horse shit surrounding it. Like between the 20-ton bag of Kevin Spacey and then the reshoot payments between the actors.
Yeah.
Well, I think we talked about this once before. I don't know how we talked about it before, but I think we did. The most interesting part to me is that like it kind of works as a sequel to There Will Be Blood in a way, because I think it's like the story of that family, the Gettys, is, I think they inspired the Plainview character. So like on that level, it's kind of interesting to me, but like past that, it kind of lost me, because like it's just not the whole thing of Christopher Plummer playing a character that I've seen him play like a million other times. He's a complicated old man who has, strange things about his personal life, and he's very secure. Syrian element.
Oh, then you should definitely watch the FX run, because Donald Sutherland playing an old rich bastard is wonderful. Like he's
sort of like his second career.
I mean, that's the best part about Outbreak, is that he's just playing an utter bastard in that movie. He's just playing like a monster.
It's great.
I just watched that movie again recently. It was so funny to watch.
It's really interesting.
My wife and I watched what was it? The Steven Soderbergh film,
Contagion.
Yeah, we watched Contagion like back in like March. so starting, and we're like, this can't be. And now it's like, oh god, oh god, I want to watch that movie anytime soon.
I actually cannot wait for like 6 or 7 years, maybe probably will be less. So like when post this, like the pandemic inspired movies happen, and it's like, oh, we need to change how we look at post-apocalyptic or like going through the apocalypse, how people react.
Luke, you know they've already started making COVID.
Oh, yeah,
right?
not talking about COVID movies. I mean, like the
Yeah.
concept of apocalypse
it's the 9/11
is now like
thing
so.
of
It's
like
yes,
like
it's exactly that.
98 Godzilla, where people reacted to New York buildings getting blown up with nothing. They were like, "Yeah, it's just a building." In the movies, they were like, "Yeah, that's cool, whatever. The buildings are blown up," and then cut to 9/11.
See, I'm
Oh
waiting.
God!
I'm waiting for the zombie movie where, like Lou's saying, like people will be like, "I don't believe it. That's altered footage," or like, "See, nothing's gonna happen to me. I'm gonna go meet these people
Yeah.
and try and argue with them, and then they get murdered horribly by zombies."
It's kind of like Shaun of the Dead is like the closest post-apocalyptic movie to real life.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but even then, there were still people who knew like the rules of the zombie world. Like
Right.
I like the idea that there will be people who are like, well, this is fake. All they have to do is take this this drug that isn't proven at all, and blah 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 blah. But yeah,
those are crisis.
That's
actors.
kind of
Because,
Contagion, isn't it?
Yeah.
wasn't Contagion kind of an adaptation of the movie The Hot Zone?
Maybe.
yeah, I
don't
think
know.
so.
Yeah,
I
the
think
one
it's
about
all based on
Ebola.
the same thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Or
and it's also
yeah,
different being about like a disease like Ebola, where it actually like kind of like
Exists.
burns through. Well, it exists, but like
Yeah.
it burns through you so fast.
hmm
Compared to something like what COVID is, which is like it's kind of like a slow burn,
hmm
which is kind of worse in the world. But like, yeah, like it'll be interesting. Like, I've been listening to like podcasts. I was like, oh, like you said, Arlen, like the kind of post 9/11 like changing art. It'll be interesting in like the 5 years like changing of art, seeing like, oh, because they like basically everybody's gotten like the what happens during a apocalyptic event wrong. Because if you consider the stat, like
Right.
people
Well,
just don't give a shit.
Yeah, well, for the most part, and it's embellishment. It's like anything. Yeah. I don't know how the fuck we got down here to this area.
Let's get out. It's kind of bummer.
Yeah.
We're talking about Sutherland's. Yeah. The
Speaking
only
of
thing,
things that spread,
the one thing I wanted to add real quick before we move away from that topic was I can't wait for the deluge of garbage like single room movies to be happening once all the
hell yeah.
COVID-19 stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
like
there's a lot of
my COVID diary, like that type of bullshit. Anyways,
Yeah.
you're gonna say, Arlen.
Yeah, I watched a movie. I can't remember time anymore, so just know that I watched this movie very recently. I've told you guys in the chat you should watch this movie. It's on HBO Max, so it shouldn't be a barrier to I think anybody listening to this who has HBO Max. Snatchers. I don't know if this movie ever made it to the theaters or if it was going to. It stars two teenage-ish girls, and it's not really like a body snatchers thing. It's more like my first Cronenberg, I guess. That's the best way I can describe it. It's this girl, she has sex for the first time with this boy that she's been
Congratulations.
with this boy that she's been on and off with
A
for a
humble
while.
brag.
And it's really weird. He like makes weird noises while it's happening. It's pretty great, actually. It's a very funny scene. And then like the next day she's pregnant, like immediately. Yeah, that's the movie. That's exactly the movie. She's pregnant like the next day with these two, like, I don't know how to describe them, parasitic crab creatures.
I was gonna say they look like.
Excuse me?
I'm flipping through IMDb, and they look like medium-sized dog giant crabs.
Yeah, and it's just it was a fun time. It was a very fun time. That was like the beginning of a night of me trying to just dive through some horror movies. And I went in expecting literally nothing because I hadn't heard of the movie before. I just saw like the little poster that HBO Max has. Not even a poster, it was like all squared off. I saw the description and I was like, all right, that sounds interesting. I watched it and I adored it. The effects are really good. A lot of practical effects, very throwbacky, but not like cloying or like 80s nostalgia.
Not pandering. Yeah.
Right. It's just like you could tell that they made these things, that there was real work put into it, and I don't remember a lot of CG effects for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah, I've looked through the pictures. They all
really
look practical.
Yeah, and the two leads are like really good, and for teenage characters that have a lot of the teenage drama stuff,
Parasitic
they
crabs.
they weren't
parasitic
annoying.
crab sex. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, for the most part, they weren't really that annoying. They were very well acted. I want to know what all of these actors do after this. I want to watch all their other movies. Yeah, it's just a very fun little movie, I guess, and it's on HBO Max.
Oh, well,
so.
I was just going to say real quick, this is something that probably only Hunter will get, but this is supposed to be taking place in the 80s?
No, it is.
Or is it modern
now?
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought
like a little town in New Mexico, I think.
Okay, because I was just going to say it sounds like there was a medium-sized crab battle. So you would have to you'd have to flip them over to get to their weak point.
Arlen, this is a movie or a TV show?
For massive damage.
Movie.
Yes.
Oh, there's a TV show by the same name that has the same
Young
premise.
Kaz Harai.
Really? I did not know that.
It's 3 seasons, and it has some of the same cast members.
Oh.
What is the name of this again?
Snatchers.
Huh. Oh, that's an interesting picture that you just posted, Lou. Okay.
Yeah, because I was gonna make a joke that like the third person on the IMDb was from Arlen's favorite show, You. But she's also in the TV show version of Snatchers.
Huh.
There's a TV show version?
I had no idea there was a TV show version of this. This is the first I'm hearing about this.
2017, 2018. Huh. That's interesting.
Don't like that.
I wonder if it's that the director was involved, maybe? Or a writer, or...
So is it a television show?
Yeah, the director was the same. The TV show was the same as the movie. Huh.
So is the TV show, is it she just keeps having these crabs creatures?
I feel like the movie is the TV show just as a movie.
Okay, I'm looking at it right now. I'm trying to see what the episode lengths are. I think
it looks like it's 25 episodes and it's 3 seasons.
Okay, it looks like, if I had to guess, because it's not showing an episode length.
It was a Crackle. It was a Crackle TV show.
Oh no!
Oh, okay. So
sign of quality.
No, okay. I didn't know it was Crackle though. I had no clue that this was a show.
It says I'm looking. It has 2 seasons. They're 10 episodes each.
Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense though. That fits. The show doesn't, but that's the thing. The show doesn't feel, or the movie doesn't feel like a show. Like I didn't get that sense that it was episodic in that way. In retrospect, I can kind of see how the little chunks would fit, but it worked totally as a movie before you having said that.
I'd like to point out on the IMDb page for the TV show, under the clip that's right at the top, that is a scene from what is it, the second Jordan Peele movie?
Get Out?
No,
not Get
it's part of like one of their
Us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like IMDb's content that they do. They're like original content. It's like an interview thing, it looks like.
Why would I do that?
Why would you connect that to the IMDb page when I'm looking for Snatchers?
It looks like it's covered in there. It looks like it's covered in that video from what
That's dumb.
know.
That's dumb. I don't like it one bit.
I don't disagree.
Get your shit together, IMDb. Do you hear me, president of IMDb? Come and fist fight you.
You mean Jeff Bezos? You mean
whoever?
Jeff Bezos, Eric?
Whoever.
Because IMDb is run by Amazon.
Whatever. I don't care. I'll punch that bald asshole in the face.
You should. You really should. I want to see it. This
marry him and divorce him and become the richest person.
My brain is broken because when I tell you I didn't know it was a TV show while I was watching it. Like
we can tell.
That's a sign of quality. Like I had no clue.
It's weird. It seems like the movie is a movie version of the TV show. Like
No, it's the same show. I was just looking at pictures. They produced it as a show, and then they just edited it together as a film, which is kind of
that's
awesome.
very anime of them.
At what point does Linkin Park song bring up?
Because like when you were talking about it, I was like, oh, this seems like it's in the same genre as but it's a TV show that was on Netflix. What was that zombie show?
What was it? Black. Is that what I'm thinking of? The one that had
Black
Presley?
Diet.
Something Diet.
Santa
Clarita
Clara.
Diet. Yeah, Santa Clarita Diet. And it's like a horror comedy like that. And it's very kind of similar, like goofing on the tropes of like a zombie movie.
Mm.
Yeah, but it doesn't have
a
teenager pregnant with two crabs.
Crab demon.
The tone of this, I would put like
massive damage.
It's closer to Shaun of the Dead, actually.
His
like
claws are enormous.
Oh yeah, that would be the same thing, where it's like mostly comedy, but with like a horror backdrop.
Right. Yeah, they take the horror. Like, there's a moment in this movie where I couldn't handle myself. I was like, did they just do that? Did they just? It was very. It was a lot. I had to pause the movie multiple times because they just did things where I was like, wow, people really do this in movies still. And to see it in a movie produced by Warner Brothers with the WB logo and all that, like, that was pretty crazy.
I've seen Sallow. There's nothing I can see at this point that will shock me anymore.
But it wasn't shocking in that, like, in like a transgressive way. It was like, wow. Somebody actually did that. Somebody had the balls to like put that on screen in a teen comedy horror show. I do want to watch the show version and make sure that I'm correct, because
don't give Crackle any more power than it already has.
Yeah, Crackle is
well, it looks like it was on Go. It looks like it was on Go 90 as well.
Does Crackle? Crackle was Sony, right?
What fucking words did you just say? What is Go 90?
Do you not know what Go 90 was?
No.
Verizon Go 90, the failed streaming service.
It's called Go 90.
Yeah,
I feel like I've heard
it
of
was Quibi before Quibi.
I was going to ask, did they actually go the opposite direction as Quibi, and they're like, everything is 90 minutes?
I prefer it. It'd make more sense.
Yeah.
No, it was their for Verizon customers only YouTube, because that makes sense. Because that's a logical thing to do.
Makes more sense than Quibi. Yeah, it does, because A, Quibi isn't a real fucking word, and B, Jeffrey Katzenberg should be launched into the sun.
Yeah, Quibi exists in the same Phantom Zone
bite.
As like a
quick bite.
It's not a real word. You can't just make fucking words up because you want to try and spend how many billions of dollars to make that thing work. Fuck that. Ugh, what a waste of so many good talents.
I don't know, they made bank.
They made what now?
They made bank.
I guess. Did they?
Didn't what's their names? Dude, didn't Sansa? I can't remember her name from Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
her and her Jonas brother husband make something?
Well, I'm sure the actors and the people, the talent.
No, they made a Quibi show.
Talent.
Yeah, I'm sure the quote-unquote talent was paid well, but I hope that thing that Quibi made absolutely nothing. Like, do you hear anybody talking about it right now?
No,
I forget it exists. That's what I'm saying. Like, it lives in the same universe as like that Pennyworth show. Like, it's in this like void of like, unless someone brings it up by name, I forget it even. Like, it's like a reversal.
You mean John? Unless John.
Is there something that's the polar, like the antithesis of a tulpa?
Yeah,
that's a psychic black hole, dude. That's all that is. Oh wow.
Well, I guess the opposite of a tulpa would have to be something that's like tiny and a physical manifestation. So
no, it's like something that actually exists, but like the more you talk about it, the more it goes away.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, I mean,
Quibi.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, Quibi hit at the exact wrong time that something like that should be.
No, it hit at the exact right time. It just still did not work.
Yeah.
No, because if you go off what they were saying about it, it was for people who commute on a daily basis on like buses and trains. So in
it
a
failed
way,
during
this
the
is the worst
time.
time.
It failed during the time when everyone's looking for content to kill their days.
Yeah,
So
new
here's
content. Yeah.
Here's the thing: if my choice is rewatching old episodes of Good Eats or pulling out my phone and watching Quibi, I'm gonna rewatch Good Eats for the
Yeah.
second time in this whole pandemic.
I will watch 15 half-hour videos of just animals being cute on YouTube because that's what I do
Right.
sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. No judgment here. Zero judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Legitimate way to spend your time.
I need to watch the dodo for like 2 hours because I need to feel good about life.
Right.
Yeah.
You
You
need
did
to
right
feel like
thing.
there's meaning in existence. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my wife does the opposite because I'll walk up and like, because her background thing to doing work the last
What is
2
she
weeks.
watching? Animal
Wait.
vivisections? What is she watching?
Close. She's
Oh,
watching
God.
Love After Lockup.
Excuse me?
Wait,
What?
Love After Lockup? What the fuck is that?
Yes. Take the words of the what do you think it is?
Yeah. Wait, no. Is it about
That's
prison
not-
love? Is
Yeah,
it
it's
prison
a
love?
show about people who fall in love via pen palship in prison, and then when the people get out, it's a reality show.
This
That's
sounds like my favorite
amazing.
type of train wreck. Because my
Yeah.
wife and I tore through like 2 seasons of 90 Day Fiance because we
Oh.
couldn't look away.
Oh my god, I love that's the only reality show I watch with my wife. Because if we can go to if you're not following Paul from Paul and Carini on Instagram, she grabbed their kid and dipped out, and he has no idea where she is.
we only made it through the second season because the second season was so goddamn cringy with who's the dude from Morocco, like the one that crazy
with Danielle.
Yeah. I guess that's her name, the one that was
She's the monster, the mess, the mess of a human being.
Yeah, the one that kept having like utilities turned off and all that. Yeah.
So, not to spoiler, when they do a reunion show, she specifically says that they do not have sex on their wedding because her vagina smells too much. She says that during their. I'm only spoiling this because it's like 6 years old. 90 Day Fiance is awesome. I know you're not doing Patreon stuff anymore, Eric, but Nicole Byer does a Patreon of her and one of the writers from what's the cop show that was on Fox now is on NBC? It's a comedy.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine. One of the head writers of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The two of them basically cover 90 Day Fiance because it's their favorite thing.
Oh my God. No,
it's hilarious.
I still give money to Laser Time's Patreon because it's actually gotten much better. Like it seems like Chris Antista was going through a bit of a dark spell there, but things are kind of back on track. So I never rescinded my payment. But regardless, yeah, I'm not that much into 90 Day Fiance that I'm not going to pay.
It gets fucking crazy.
I believe it. They
had to fire one of their castmates this year because during their tell-all via not Skype, what do they use now? Zoom. The husband who lives in Nigeria asked, "Is it normal for American women to call like husbands the N-word?" Yes, and so she got fired from the show.
Holy shit!
And she's not the worst person because she was allowed on the tell-all. The person who wasn't was a guy who's probably going to jail and may have been involved in his own child's murder.
Jesus Christ!
And they did not vet him, and they didn't even. Well, they filmed him doing it, and they cut him and his Russian fiance out of the entire tell-all.
I think I've seen video of that woman. Like they meet because she kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, putting it off, and they finally meet, and she's about as excited as a robot would be about being offered a steak.
Yes, I have to say, like for the most part, the show is terrible, but the current season has the greatest couple that has ever existed. It makes me want to cry because it is it's their first male gay couple, and the one guy's Mexican and his fiance is moving to Mexico, and he has to come out, and they are like the sweetest couple, but like it's like literally them dealing with having to like be gay in Mexico, and like
yikes! Yeah, I can't imagine that's easy.
And so both of them have kids, and the one guy, I know we're like super on a tangent, but this story will pay off. So the one guy in Mexico is younger, he's like a hunter age. And actually the other guy from Florida is an Eric age.
Excuse me?
Yes.
So
but the guy
he's an ageless one anyway. Okay.
Yeah. So the young Mexican guy, he was married. He came out to his wife. They had a kid. He came out to his wife. She outed him to his mom. And then on the show, basically pushed him back in the closet. On the show, they're just like, oh, then she died and in a car accident and left him a widower with an infant. But what they didn't say is that she actually tried to kill him with her car and ran herself off the road and killed herself.
Fuck. Wow. Okay. I might need to jump back into the show at some point. Yeah, at least when it shows up on Hulu.
Season. Yeah, it is really good. Oh, if you just go on their app, I think they put all the episodes on there for free.
Oh, don't tell me those things.
Yeah. It's what everybody does right now because we're all stuck at home still.
Well, I'm not. I'm
right.
working time.
I'm in one of the states that we're not allowed to. So.
Yeah. PA's green.
I'm in the south, sort of, but yes.
We'll be back in the orange and red in no time. Don't worry about it. Yeah. For me, like the newest thing I think I watched was and Arlen, you might have seen it on Shudder, was The Beach House.
I did see it. Yeah.
Oh, I've heard a lot about that.
Did you actually watch it, Arlen, or did you just see the poster, or whatever you want to call it for?
Oh, I watched it.
Okay.
I was very drunk, but I did watch it.
Okay, so in your drunken memories, what did you think of?
I remember thinking that it's fairly well done. The VFX are pretty good. That lead actress is very, very good.
Yeah, she was. It took me a little bit to warm up to her, but I did really think she did a great job. The boyfriend was an idiot and terrible, and I'm glad he's dead.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It was. I don't remember the ending, but I thought that everything about it worked. Like, it's a movie where philosophically, the movie from beginning to end all fits together, and it feels like a complete piece of art, which is something that I really appreciate, especially in horror, which is a genre that I think sometimes doesn't do that. But this felt like there was a solid foundation and an idea that they were going for, and it was all handled very, very well.
It didn't rely too heavily on special effects, which was nice. Like the stuff they did use worked really well. But yeah, it's kind of subtle in its horror, but it's still a horror movie tried and true. Like, and yeah, it's a decent time. Like, I know Arlen and I both said it multiple times, but if you don't have Shudder, just get it. It's $5. Yeah. Like, it's totally worth your time. Even if you watch like one movie every 2 months, that pays for it essentially.
Right. Yeah. And somehow, if you sign up for a trial, somehow you'll magically get it for a year for free without ever paying for it.
I mean,
really?
Yes,
I believe it, because that company is like really good about customer service. I think I told the story on air before. They gave me 2 months free because I was going through a cancellation thing. I was like, I can't afford this right now, and they're like, 2 months free. Just you have it.
They didn't even talk to me. Like, I watched Tammy and the T-Rex. I mean, my wife watched that, and I was like, all right.
Tammy and the T-Rex is a treat.
She's like, why am I watching this? And I'm like, there's a Real Housewife in it. You can watch it.
Oh, God.
It's worth it for the T-Rex calling on the page.
Calling on the phone, yes. And
God.
The version they have on there is the uncut, so I think it's Tawny.
Yes, the gory one. Yeah. The other thing, like, and this was weeks ago, because the only other thing that's newer that my wife and I are watching is I'll Be in the Dark, the HBO Max documentary about the Golden State Killer, and also about Patton Oswalt's
McNamara.
How do you say, like, it's not his ex-wife?
Widow? Is it his widow?
No, you would say like
the widow.
He's the widower.
Yeah, his deceased wife.
Yeah, you would just have to say the whole long thing.
Yeah, but like it's
his dead wife.
really,
Right.
Yeah.
His dead wife.
Dead wife Oswald. No, it's really fucking good. Like,
Yes, it is.
like unbelievably so. And it's one of those things that, like, going into it, I knew what happened to his
Mhm.
and even was
Mhm.
going on during her research, and then you're also finding out about all the things that the state killer was doing. So it's dealing with the after effects of her dying and all
Yeah,
that. And it's
because
it's so
she doesn't even
heartbreaking
get to finish the
because
book. It's her like two
No.
friends that finish the like her
yeah, her
people
one
she was
research
working with.
assistants and
Yeah.
and like one of the editors and like a true crime
Yeah.
writer came in
I
and
used to
helped
listen to
polish
their
it up.
podcast,
Yeah.
but then I cut out like 90% of the
Mhm.
true crime because it was literally
Too much.
causing me to be depressed. Like it was
Yep.
legitimately.
Yeah,
I
Lou,
talked
I
about my
think in
therapist. I'm like,
general, that's a good idea. I have a not a complicated relationship with that show. I really like the show. I think it's really well done. I was worried at first because I have the audiobook and I just haven't
Okay.
gotten around to listening to it. And I I worried that it would like spoil
Just
the
be the book.
audiobook.
Yeah.
I think
Right,
Pat,
but it feels
doesn't he?
like it isn't. He wrote.
Oh,
he's one of
he's
the writers of the
yeah,
book.
and
I know. I
he's-
think does he read the audiobook?
I don't know.
I can bring it up real
Because like I do know like when I look at audiobooks, like I actually do look at who is reading it because I found it making a huge difference in my experience.
Oh, everything
Right.
I haven't listened to a lot of audiobooks, but I've definitely like tempted to jump in. Like I've wanted to listen to the Gunslinger series from Stephen King, and like
Oh yeah.
from what I've read, like there's a certain reader, whatever, narrator,
Mhm.
who's considered the best for those books, because apparently
Yeah.
there's more than one person reading them sometimes.
I listen to the exegesis of Philip K. Dick a lot.
Yeah, who does the reading on that?
So he was like
A bunch of people actually.
yeah. Oh.
It's good.
Yeah. So someone named Gabra Zachman. I don't know if that's one of the people from the show. Gillian Flynn does the introduction, well, she wrote the introduction as well, and then Patton does the afterword, which is
Yeah.
he wrote.
I think he wrote, yeah.
Yeah, because you see him signing copies of the book throughout the series at various points.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just been it's so good. It's so horrific in multiple ways. Like I think the thing that, like I was saying earlier about like it's heartbreaking because seeing or watching the show and then hearing like little hints of it, like in the third or fourth episode, where it's like, oh, at least I have drugs. She says text to Patton. You hear a doctor calling and leaving a message saying like, hey, your refill for Xanax is available. It's just like, oh God, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
So anybody who doesn't know is just like, oh no, get to that part.
Yeah, and in this last episode, I don't know if this is a spoiler. They kind of connect it to Prince, and I was like, is it going to pay off in some way? But it did, as it turns
totally
out.
did. Which
it's the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly the same thing. Yeah. But yeah, outside of that, the older thing was that my wife and I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for like the second or third time, and that movie, every time I watch that, I'm 100% in. Like that movie is so goddamn good, and I don't know. There's something just inherently heartbreaking about it as I watch it, because it's like not what could have been, because obviously it goes insane near the end, but just it's I don't know, just it's so ridiculous to think that this bunch of fuck ups were able to do something so stupid for an absolute man. That, and it's such a good slow Tarantino film, because you enjoy everything that's going on, and then you get that like sudden rabbit punch of violence in the last like 15 minutes of the movie, and it's just like, oh, I forgot this is also what I'm here for. So that's, go back and watch it if you haven't rewatched it recently.
It's
actually
a pretty good movie.
Just reminded me with like the book on tape stuff. Like you guys heard about what I think it's for Netflix with the TV series, the Sandman audiobook that or the reading.
Yeah, we talked about this in the chat.
Okay.
Like there are two different versions.
The cast is insane for what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's God, what's his face? Who played Professor X, young Professor
James
X,
McAvoy.
is
James
doing
McAvoy is
voicing
Morpheus.
Yeah.
Taron Egerton is Constantine. Kat Dennings,
Mhm.
Death. Riz Ahmed is the Corinthian.
Yeah, it's
Michael
a
Sheen-
crazy cast.
Yeah, Michael
I mean,
Sheen
all
is
of them are such a
Lucifer.
great cast. Yeah.
Yeah, Andy Serkis is the Raven. It's like
hmm
because like it reminded me because I think what was it? I have Neverwhere on my like Audible, and it's McAvoy is in that as well.
Oh,
And, like a bunch of other people doing like an audio drama. So
Him
he has
and Martian Manhunter's in that.
yeah, Martian Manhunter. It has like a crazy ass cast because isn't oh my god, what's his name? I'm gonna say Dooku, but that's terrible.
Christopher Lee. Yeah.
Christopher Lee does a voice in it.
really? In the Sandman thing? Because he was dead.
No, Neverwhere.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, how did they pull that one off?
They recut his like death metal songs to get them
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I posted in the chat the picture of the voice cast for the Invincible cartoon that's coming out. It looks insane. Like, I don't know if you guys had seen any of that, but like I don't know how many of you are even familiar with the comic Invincible, the Robert Kirkman one.
Yeah.
But it
barely, but based off my minimal exposure, a cartoon sounds like the best way.
It is.
All my knowledge of Invincible is through copies of Wizard magazine that I got from my grandmother.
That's the one. It's like Superman. It's basically Superman went crazy.
Kind of.
And he carved his symbol into the United States.
No, that's something different.
The other one.
That is Irredeemable. Yeah.
Okay, I get those two mixed up a lot. I feel like
they're different. They're very different.
Invincible is teen superhero movie or show, like, or comic, yeah. But it's Kirkman, so it definitely has some things.
Right.
But I figured all of you would be interested because Jason Mantzoukas does a voice in it. So
oh shit.
yeah. You've got, let me see here, Stephen Yu, J.K. Simmons, Sandra Oh, Gillian Jacobs, Zazie Beetz, Zachary Quinto, Jason Mantzoukas. Yeah, Seth Rogen. It's a great looking cast. So it's totally going to be worth it. I think
it's kind of funny how like something from so long ago, like a radio drama, is coming back, like in a way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
animation being respected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm wondering where it's going to drop.
Well, I know, didn't DC like sign, like Warner Brothers DC sign like a huge deal with Spotify to do like a bunch of audio dramas for them?
Oh, kind of like what Marvel did with Audible.
So like Audible is doing it with Marvel. I think DC's doing it with Spotify.
Yeah, I feel like I was on this train 10 years ago. I was like, why isn't anybody doing this? This is a good way to tell the stories. It's something that people listen to. It just took a couple years. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. There's a million podcasts out there that are doing stuff like this. Like I mean, that's how I found that show that I suggested to you guys, specifically you, Arlen. Yeah. It's rental radio or radio rental.
Yeah. I need to listen to more of it because it's just this whole all of the stuff. I'm just so backed up on podcasts that I love. Some of my favorite shows, I'm like 20, 30 episodes behind.
I don't even bother when I get that far. I just jump on to like maybe 3 prior to the newest one.
It depends on the show. If they're
I'm gonna need to take a shotgun and I'm gonna just like, bye, you're done.
Yeah, I do that all the time where I clear out, but it depends. If it's like how did this get made where they're individual, I'll still work my way through.
I just resubscribed because I realized, hey, they aren't doing live show episodes anymore because I do not like those.
I love the live shows.
I'm with Arlen. I can't with the live.
Why?
The audio quality, for one, that's a big thing for me.
They're shorter and they're less funny to me.
Yeah,
they're less funny. Are you kidding me?
No, I think that there are good jokes in the live shows, but I don't know. There's something about
Jason Mantzoukas, when he is live, is a monster.
See, and I've listened to like a lot of them like 2 or 3 times over, and there's just such a difference in studio ones. Like the in studio ones is where shit gets fucking crazy.
Also, it's also how I listen to podcasts. I listen to podcasts while I'm doing other things, and usually when I'm in public. The live shows are good if I'm drinking, per se, but I don't really drink and listen to podcasts. That's not something that I really do.
Masturbating furiously.
So, like, when I'm, I don't know, not mowing the lawn, but like doing dishes or something like that, and I'm listening to a live show, and like the audio craps out, and I think that my headphones are broken because of some weird like audio thing. It's distracting for me.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's been similar with certain shows that I've listened to in like doing Zooms, which
Right.
theirs isn't one, but some of the other ones I'm like, oh, the chemistry is like not good over like what we're doing right now.
Wait, are you saying that the internet sometimes ruins and stifles podcasts and the way
No way.
they flow?
The internet ruined something?
That's unheard of, Lou. This has never happened before. Yeah. Anyway.
But I agree with you, Arlen. Like, it's made me like go towards pick up other movie podcasts or like other things.
Right. Yeah.
Like guests on their show that have done stuff. I've gone to their podcast. Like I listened to the guy who did The Quest has like a movie podcast, like about action movies from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and I've listened to that.
Also, for me, this is why I did jettison it initially, is I listen to so many other movie podcasts. Like, that's, if I had to like do a tally of podcasts I listen to, that's the majority of them. So How Did This Get Made kind of dwelled in the bottom for me for a while there. But I have time to listen to it now. So like yeah, once I get through all these other shows. Like Camille Nanjiani and Emily Gordon launched a new podcast. I wasn't waiting for that for like 10 years or anything, or whenever Indoors Kids.
Didn't he already have like a video game podcast?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, and I listened to that show multiple times. Like I listened to that entire back catalog of episodes. I actually did like a blog a couple years ago where I was like going through and recording the things that they would like throw out as references. It was this weird little thing that I'm sure nobody's surprised that I was doing, where I was like, every time they mention a thing, I'm gonna record it so that other people who are listening to this don't have to write it down themselves. I stopped at some point, probably because the show ended.
You actually remind me, I watched his newest movie, the one that went to Netflix.
Yeah, that movie was fine.
It was fine. It had some really good parts, but then I think it was really slow.
Yeah,
and then I'm just like, he's so fucking jacked now. It's hilarious.
It is hilarious seeing them trying to hide how he's ripped.
Like, oh man, it's like worse than Chris Pratt.
That's a lot of the problems that a lot of modern comedies have. So I can't get too angry because it's like this is just modern comedies now. Occasionally you get a book smart where it feels very natural and the comedy's well written, and it's not like two comedians just reciting bits from their act.
It definitely felt like that at times.
Mm-hmm.
On the subject of podcasts, something that I know Lou and Hunter, you'll probably be into. There's one I listen to, and they're still going. It's called the King Mobcast, and
What?
they're going issue by issue talking about the Invisibles. And I've actually learned a lot of stuff listening to it that I didn't realize having read the comic multiple times.
All right.
Like,
You just inspired me because I have the omnibus literally sitting right behind me.
Why have you not read that yet? Like, you have nothing but time.
Because it's 2,000 pages, and like I'm scared of it.
Good. No, just read it. Just read it. Just read it. It's really good. The third part of the series is it's kind of tough to get through, and I've read it multiple times, and it's not tough to get through because it's bad. It's tough to get through because Morrison is just dumping so much stuff in there that you're like, I don't understand a lot of these references. But yeah, the King Mobcast has been consistently good, and like the chemistry of all the hosts is so good, and it brings up so many things that I didn't even know about. So it's totally worth listening to as a companion, or even if you haven't read the book yet, like just what you should be doing right now, Lou. But yeah, it's totally worth your time.
Thanks for bullying me. God damn it.
You know what? Shut up and read it, you wimp.
Who cares, pussy?
Yeah, you know what? You're never gonna get laid if you don't read that.
My wife will be really impressed by me reading,
She will be. She'll be like, "Oh, look at that big
which I
book
don't
you're
think my
reading."
mother-in-law is who bought me that book for Christmas.
Like, well,
Oh,
you
wow.
know, you know. But something I wanted to bring up that I know Hunter will probably have something to say, and I'm sure you guys too. There's a rumor floating around, and this was apparently from something that the CFO of EA tweeted about being very interested in purchasing Warner Brothers games.
Okay. Okay. This makes me very angry for multiple reasons.
Because you're really excited for Batman Arkham Andromeda.
No, don't even stop. Okay. I've seen people insinuate that Microsoft would be worst case scenario.
No.
But here's the part that infuriates me. They use 343, the people who work on Halo, as an example, because Halo isn't good anymore. And I'm like, hey guys, the guys who made Dead Space, they're unemployed.
Yeah.
Also, like all the games would be just on Gamecast anyway, so I wouldn't even have to pay for them.
Yeah, I don't understand where this stupid, like, Microsoft's a bad company with studios came from.
Also, on the Halo thing, those first 3 Halo games came out in a very particular time in a lot of people's lives. So the fact that those people don't have enough self-awareness to say, oh, nothing will ever meet that, even if it is at the same quality, I will never recapture that. But I guess that just tells you everything you need to know about the video game playing audience from that age group.
Yeah, they're all stupid.
Yeah, but they don't get it. That you can't recapture the things that you used to have. You can only hope for new things that will impress you in that way.
Oh, so it's a lot like the Catholic Church.
I was going to say Star Wars.
That works as well.
It's essentially Star Wars. But no, EA is worst case scenario. Like, it's like they will kill NetherRealm if Mortal Kombat does not sell to their liking.
EA is only not the worst video game company because of things that happened in the last month.
That fucking Activision just doesn't pay their taxes, so
right.
Yeah, EA at one point I was like, wow, they're really turning it around, and then no, like when Dead Space and stuff like that was coming out, I'm like, maybe they won't be the most hated company on earth anymore. And I mean, for all intents and purposes, they're not as of right now. But give them a little time.
Comcast. Just give Comcast a moment.
Well, that's because there's no sports, and they make the 2 biggest sports games, which they base all of their things off of. So that's why they do their things.
And then everybody complains about the sports games, and then they still buy them.
Oh wait, no, I know. They also squat on the rights to Star Wars and do nothing with it.
That's true.
Right. Yeah, that's the other thing that makes them really bad. But they also don't sexually, as far as we know,
sexually harass a million people.
Yeah.
Again, Comcast, as far as we know, doesn't do that either. So Comcast is finally the hero. Not really.
I think it's just Comcast has better lawyers than Ubisoft does.
I think you're praising Comcast just made my internet better.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't see how EA would have as much money as they need to buy Brothers game.
I honestly don't see a world where Microsoft does outbid EA, honestly.
Yeah.
You say that, but then there's no football season and Madden sells 100 billion copies.
Yeah, but they still need a lot of money to keep a lot of the rights that they're doing.
You gotta understand.
I think those things are locked down for like contracts for like
they've essentially created a monopoly with that.
Yeah.
Like, It's a whole thing.
It's like yeah.
I don't want to believe this is a possibility because it's horrific to me.
Dude, it's real.
You don't want to buy like $10 to get like a 1 in 92 chance for a Riddler box.
And, you know, and I know I hate to say it, but I would really take Bethesda or like anything over EA, honestly.
Yeah.
If Take-Two tomorrow was like, yeah, we'll buy them, I'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I would at least feel secure that they would do something interesting with some of the acquisitions they would get there. But
every game would be $70, but yeah.
Yeah, well, you know. But that's the thing. If let's say in this horrible dystopian future that EA gets the WB Games license and all the stuff that comes with it, they will just pump out Batman and Mortal Kombat and that's it. And the minute they stop making money, they're gone. Like they will be dissolved and they will just squat on the rights to those titles.
Ed Boon will be making mobile games for the rest of his life.
Oh God, no. Yeah, maybe they'll bring him in and do Bug Snacks DLC.
That would actually
is his soul tied to the rights? Is that
I,
part of being the guy, like the one half creators of Mortal Kombat?
Well,
you
because
know,
Tobias has been gone for a while, so I think he's the only.
He's been gone since what, like 4?
Yeah, he's been gone forever.
Yeah, it's kind of like the split between
TMNT.
Well, no, the creators of Doom.
Yeah. Well, one of those guys is like a super genius, and the other one is basically a neckbeard. So,
so it's like TMNT.
Yeah. No, you're not that far, actually, when you put it that way. Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't sure if anybody was going to have anything more to add about EA potentially doing that. It just
the thought of it horrifies me, and
like I feel like the seal. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I can't wait for like EA to be like, no, we're not gonna, like, if they had it, we're not gonna allow Lego to make any more Lego Batman games, because that would like flood the market.
Actually, they wouldn't own those developers, I don't think.
No, they wouldn't own the developers, but they'd have the rights. Because
they'd have all the.
They would have the license for as long until it expires. I think. I'm not.
I don't produced around those on the Batman specific, like the DC Lego ones. So like I think they can't make those without whoever owns those rights.
Right.
And I don't think anybody else could make an adept like Lego game other than Take-Two or what is Traveler's Tale? No.
Traveler's Tale, yeah.
Traveler's Tale. All right. Yeah, I couldn't remember. 2T. Remember if it was Take-Two. Yeah, that's the other thing. Rights issues are so weird. I don't know how much these things are directly tied to WB, and if EA owned the WB Games license but got rid of the teams that make these games well, what that would mean. Them sitting on them the whole time? I hate it.
Well, yeah.
I don't want to think about this.
Yeah.
Well, it's again, I don't know the specifics. One would hope that if EA did buy WB Games, and that as a result of that, they got the license to Batman and all those other characters, that their mantra would be, well, if we make a good game, we will get this license again. We will be able to renew the license, and WB will allow us to do that. One would hope that would be their way of approaching it.
EA doesn't have a very good track record with that.
Right. It's like, I would... Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Why would you give your license to one company forever?
Yeah.
Because they're making no money.
Right.
That's not a good reason.
Well, again, I don't know if there's a difference between video game licensing deals and movie licensing deals.
They are sometimes tied together and sometimes not. So, like, Spider-Man is all tied together.
Yeah.
I think X-Men is, but, like, some of the other stuff is not.
Well, like Marvel was able to do an X-Men game, even though Fox had X-Men. So, like, it's all weird.
What X-Men game did Marvel do?
The really shitty one, Destiny.
I killed Silicon Knights.
Was it was there X-Men versus Capcom game?
Yeah.
Or something?
Well,
Infinity?
that's
It's free on Game Pass.
Capcom approached Marvel years
Yeah.
ago for that. That was
Yeah.
that was pre-Fox.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's been
Right.
like Capcom vs. Marvel's been around since like '92.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was way
True.
like
There's probably some grandfather deal there
Yeah.
that could probably protect it.
and
That's
the
how-
relationship between Marvel and Capcom is way better than it is, say,
Mhm.
Silicon Knights or like any other company.
Who?
Well,
What
and
company?
Even,
Oh,
what was
even
that
that
other
Spider-Man
Marvel
game?
Wasn't there another Marvel game?
I think the Spider-Man
Nemesis?
game was produced by.
Yeah, Marvel Nemesis
That was an
was.
EA game, and that was on the original Xbox.
Oh no!
So that was years and
Can
years.
you
and years
imagine
ago.
DC Nemesis?
Oh
Am I
no!
I'm gonna
wrong?
have to look up
Spider-Man-
pictures.
You remember
Spider-Man
Johnny Ohm,
was
everyone's
produced by
favorite
Marvel.
character?
Am I wrong?
God damn it! What were you saying, Arlen? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you over Johnny Ohm.
Johnny Ohm.
I'm
Rise
pretty
of
sure
the
Marvel
Imperfects.
produced Marvel PS4 Spider-Man. I think that they were part of that.
They did work on that. That was
Yeah. That was
Um,
it's just in the same way that like you'll see the Marvel logo appear before a movie that's
here's the thing about
rights
that.
that are owned by somebody else.
Here's the thing about that. There are stuff in that game that is very much not Sony owned too.
Right. That was my.
So
Um,
there is differences between what can and can't.
I think it's because they're working relationship with Marvel currently.
Yeah,
That's
right,
why.
that's true.
it's
I
definitely more of a
more
publisher thing of like
yeah.
a publisher thing of like, well, this company is a known quantity,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and they're basically like, because the way it worked was Marvel was basically going out and be like, hey, pick a character, make any game you want, and
Yeah, I think that's the story of that game. Like that they were like, "Oh, what do you want to do? Like, we love Spider-Man. Let's make a Spider-Man game."
yeah,
Well, and I mean, looking at like something like Ultimate Alliance 3, like isn't that super X-Men heavy?
No, it's got it has a bunch
X-Men.
in there.
Okay, but it's predominantly characters that Marvel has the rights to within their movie universe at this. Correct.
Not at the time. It has a bunch of Spider-Man characters.
it
Has
had
a bunch of,
Fantastic Four DLC.
Well, but
yeah,
that's the
that
thing.
was after the Fox deal, though.
Yeah,
but everybody
okay.
knew that was coming.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, though. I thought the mutants were. I thought that game came out after the Fox deal. Maybe I'm.
It
No,
did.
it came out during.
Yeah,
Okay, so
And
it was basically already known that Disney was getting
Yeah,
everything.
But
back.
there's like
Yeah.
6 Spidey characters in there because it's Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Venom,
Spider-Gwen.
Okay.
I
I
believe
wasn't.
there's
I wasn't-
costumes too for Spider-Man Noir and stuff like that.
I just
Yeah,
wasn't
and
sure
Carnage.
if there's going to be some sort of correlation between like newer Marvel games try to veer away from stuff that they don't
I
own outright, or
think it depends on the developer because
Hmm.
a company like Insomniac, they're gonna want anybody, and I think
Yeah.
Marvel is more willing to let them do it because it'll make them $1 bazillion.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But, like, you are right. Like you're not wrong because there is a whole mission at the X Mansion, and like besides that, like you get Hulk, and then you don't get really like nothing till Fantastic Four was the last DLC that
Mhm.
they did, and no mention of the other characters they don't own. Like Namor is not anywhere to be seen, or any of the other Hulk characters.
Well, and I thought it was interesting that like Moon Knight and Blade and
Oh
who
yeah,
else?
it was Moon Knight, Blade, Morbius, and Punisher were the first DLC.
Which all kind of correlates around, or at least probably when things were
Yeah.
starting to be mentioned about those characters coming to.
Yeah, which
what
Morbius
used
is
to be
like what,
Disney Plus.
the 6th Spider-Man character or 5th one. I forgot
Yeah.
about him. Yeah,
Well, I guess Spider-Man also exists in that weird nebulous realm where like they're like, no, we're not going to pass up on him because we're going to make money off him. So yeah.
Mhm.
Morbius
I
also
don't know.
sucks in that game. So fuck him.
Yeah.
So yeah, speaking of Spider-Man, the other thing I posted in the chat about just real quick about Marvel being quite as diverse as they like to claim they are, and they almost changed Miles Morales' name to
Spidey.
Spy-D.
Spidey.
Like they-
Hashtag whitest humans on Earth.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I remember hearing something about this years ago.
I vaguely do too. After reading the article, I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit! I kind of remember when they talked about.
I'm not surprised about it at all. Because like I get Ghost Spider for Spider Gwen. Like Spider Man is like the nickname, but she's Ghost Spider.
Dumb.
Which is funny because like in some things, like in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, it says Spider Gwen. It does not say Ghost Spider. But then in the cartoons, it says Ghost Spider.
Wait, is that her canon name?
Yes.
Her canon name is Ghost Spider.
Yeah.
Like that's her superhero. Well, like you can't run around as like if I'm Spider Gwen. It's like
why did she need
your name
another
is Gwen.
name? In that
Instead
universe, have they said that there's not a Spider Woman in that universe, or that there is one? So she can't have Spider Woman. Is that
I don't know, because it's like it's all confusing because you're talking about multiple Earths. So the first time I heard it was the Disney Channel cartoon where she's canon. It's like Spider. It's like Gwen never died.
Okay,
and she is now
context. In that context, I get it. In the context where she's in her own universe, where she's the Spider Person,
I think she's Spider Woman.
Okay.
That, but like the different versions of her have different names because fucking Marvel is. Well, comics are crazy.
I also wonder if that's kind of like, and sorry to interrupt. I wonder if this is similar to the way it was when the X-Men rights were with Fox, that they could use any of the characters that were, they already had the rights to, plus anything they created, and that's why Marvel was super reticent to create newer characters along the X-Men. There was some sort of weird thing along those lines, like they weren't creating as many new mutants as they could have during the time period because of the weird rights issues.
Oh, they were definitely being dicks.
It was some like
they retconned Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch to not be mutants. And they broke up the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, it was some declaration from on high, probably from our old friend Ike.
It was straight up like, why are we promoting things we don't own? Because that's which I kind of get because of the big two. Marvel gets that comics are just a marketing tool now, and
it's just a place for them to dip into for designs too,
or designs or test stories out.
Yeah, it's R&D basically. It's R&D that you get people to like review and look at and give you feedback on. Also, as we all know, Ike had a hard-on for the Inhumans, so it all fit perfectly.
I mean,
for him.
To be fair, I bet they could do it really good.
I bet they could.
If Ike was not involved.
And Jeff Lowe
as one of the 7 people who watched that show. Yeah.
Oh God, I forgot about that. You're a soldier, Lou. You really are.
Vin Diesel was supposed to be blackballed at one point. I remember hearing.
Remember when that was a thing? Remember when we all would have been so happy with that?
Yeah.
We would have 2 roles that sort of
one year he doesn't speak and one where he only says Groot.
Yep. Right.
Yeah. But the thing is, he would have demanded to be in a tank top. The entire time.
Exactly.
But only
and
shot from the shoulders up.
And
after seeing Bloodshot, like he's only allowed to be shot from like a nipple up, so you can't see the flab, and then highly CGI'd abs.
Not to make this a thing where I steal a joke from another podcast, but I was listening to something and they were talking about changing up the King Kong ride at Universal and just making it Vin Diesel. I can't stop thinking about that because it's perfect.
Oh God, I got to go on that last year, and that would be amazing, having this giant like animatronic Vin Diesel head just grunting at you while your cart shakes.
He's just like, family.
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 Yeah, on the subject of comics, real quick, I have come across a site that I've been acquiring comics on. I'll
Oh,
leave it up
We all
to
do it. My
Yeah.
comic
Right.
shop is probably dead, so
When I was
Well,
reading,
I got-
that's what I would do as well,
Yeah.
assuming that I'm reading the room properly.
Uh,
Um,
and there's so much stuff that I've gotten to read recently that I wanted to, but I couldn't justify like multiple trade because they haven't come out back. Like I read all the Dark Knights Dark Knights Metal, which reading it in the proper order was actually not
you
just
need to-
reading the trades. Hmm?
you need to be reading Death Metal because
I'm going to, but I'm waiting for more issues. But
I
I
know
also-
like 2 issues in.
I just
I need
finished
to
up.
catch up on Scott. I need to catch up on all of
Well,
stuff.
on like a side comic thing, they're basically
Hmm.
he's jumping off of doing anything continuity now.
Yeah,
After this,
Yeah,
yeah,
So
he's
they're letting
going
him
out to
just-
smaller
sounds
stuff.
great.
they're letting
Yeah,
him just play
I-
with his toys in his own sandbox.
I stopped
Yeah.
somewhere through Batman. What was that book?
Batman?
No, the one that came after it. I know what
All
you're talking
Stars.
about.
Yeah. I
Oh,
stopped
All-
somewhere
okay.
in All Star, and that was around when I just jumped off comics altogether. And like every once a month or so, I'm like, I should catch up on Scott. I should catch up on his other
Yeah.
stuff.
He has the magic ability to take what other writers did that was dog
Mhm.
shit and somehow make it good.
Yeah.
Because he's actually doing something based on the whole Jeff Johns Watchmen stuff that is interesting.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
And folding it into Death Metal.
I'm not shocked. Like he made the character Dr. Death one of my favorite characters. Like and Dr.
Well-
Death is one of the dumbest characters on earth, but
Yeah.
he's great.
Well, Dr. Death
and
was
that's a
in the
character who-
Morrison run.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
but I
he's
did
in
not know that.
Yeah.
he's in what do you call it? The Elseworlds crossover. That's that character.
Oh,
Oh, that's
I-
right. That is him.
Hmm.
Yeah.
but one of the other series I just recently tore through was Revival. And the premise of that is that the dead come back to life, but they're not zombies. They just come back as the person they were, and
Mhm.
how much havoc that run wreaks on a small, I want to say, Wisconsin town. Like it
So it's like a
obviously
mini
gets
snap.
kind of, but like it goes some places that I wasn't expecting. It's really
Yeah.
quite good, and I was able to
Interesting.
find all 4 of the deluxe hardcovers. A book I'm reading right now, Letter 44. Arlen, I think you would probably dig this.
Mm.
It's the whole idea that a new president incoming gets a president, and it tells him that aliens exist, and he knows exactly where they are. And he sent a team of aliens out there 9 years earlier to go and find out what's going on. And it's political intrigue and alien stuff, and it's really quite cool. And I've been tearing through it. Yeah, I think you'd be into it.
I'm very into that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Turns out the aliens are in Mammoth Cave.
And Sean Murphy's Batman White Knight.
oh, yes.
Holy fuck!
I love
Did you only
Sean's
read-
art. So
Did you only read the first one?
Yeah, I have the other one.
Okay. Okay, because
12
they were
issues or whatever it is.
before the world ended. He is supposed to be doing his own White Knight universe.
Oh
Whoa,
wow!
shit.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
'cause
this
were
is
there-
the comic show. You can catch up on all this stuff.
Because were there only 8 issues of Curse of the White Knight?
Yes, and
Okay.
so they are supposed to be because there was some controversy and someone got booted off of the series that he did not know was problematic.
Yeah, that's been happening a lot.
Um,
Okay.
Yeah, but they're doing like a 3 or 4 comic line that's like the Murphy. This is like it's the good and bad parts of DC like consolidating lines, and then the
Mhm.
dark or the black line, the whatever it's called, the Black series.
DC Black Label.
Black Label is just like everybody's kind of own play world.
Mhm.
And that's going to be, he's going to have a little pocket universe in there.
Nice.
I'm very
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
his art is so good.
Oh, it's
and-
phenomenal.
so good.
And that particular run, like, I'm shocked how good it
The
was.
best page is when they just have all the Batmobiles from everything
Yes.
running
For
next
those
to each
that
other.
are listening to this that don't know Sean Murphy, like, just look up panels from The Wake. Not that that was a great book, but like
Yeah.
his art in that book is fantastic.
Or if
Um,
you have an Ollie's near you, there might still be copies of Punk Rock Jesus for college.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that. Like
Oh, and
that's
also
Go ahead.
Didn't he do one of the American Vampire spin-offs? Was it like Lord of Darkness or something? He did one.
Yeah, he did the art himself of it for a while. Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I'm looking.
Yeah.
He did Tokyo Ghost, Punk Rock Jesus, American Vampire, Survival of the Fittest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then
isn't
he's
that-
done 2 different Hellblazer books as well.
Yeah, one of those
Yes.
spin-offs with the other character who like adopts a vampire or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, or the woman that he's working with, her son. So, but yeah, that was actually one of my favorite stories in the series. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the stuff with Pearl and Skinner Sweet, but yeah, some of that stuff with like the vampire hunting team or force, whatever, is so goddamn good.
And it's like the vampires that like precede humanity. They're like, like that stuff is so cool. Like, I was very into that.
But yeah, I was just able to get all of Invincible in about 5 minutes, and all of Chew, which is also a phenomenal series. If none of you have ever read that,
I've heard that's one of the books on my list because I've been doing the same thing, but I'm going like stuff that I didn't read because I was too young. So I just found like the Death of Superman omnibus, like digital.
Okay. Yep.
And I want to read. It's like Death of Superman, Superman Returns.
Yeah, Superman Returns and Superman Lives or whatever.
Lives, yeah. And I'm gonna read that.
It's okay. It's
It's one of those things. It was like the one thing because I just listened to a podcast where they're talking about how that book like both blew up the comic book industry and also simultaneously killed the comic book industry.
Right.
Well, and it's also a kind of soft launch for Hal turning into Parallax.
Parallax, yeah.
But yeah, it's I'm all for supporting your local comic store. I'm all for supporting in-stock trades and whatnot. But I'm not fucking made of money. Like, I can't keep up on everything all the time. So
and a lot of places are still closed or not reopening. Like
I
my local one I'm following, and they're not open yet, or if ever.
I stopped following single issues a long time ago, and I think I made the right decision. Honestly,
you did.
Yeah,
it depends. Like there are some stories I really like, and when I say some, I mean the current Hickman X-Men stuff. Like you must read
Hickman. Really, like that's the stuff.
Like,
I've said this before. I miss following everything Hickman was doing, and again everything Scott was doing, and like
as whatever Scott's doing, Hickman is doing that on LSD plus no condoms. Like
and then also it has the amazing like Hickman graphic design stuff, which is some of my favorite stuff from him.
Like literally in the current Cable run, like I think they're on issue 2. Cable is in a I don't know how to describe relationship with all of the Cuckoos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on a
They're
date
called
with
the
Ken
Cuckoos?
Smith. Yeah, the Stepford Cuckoos.
Yeah.
He's dating all of them concurrently.
Well, they're kind of one mind, so yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, but they also talk. They also show panels where they're like, "We're gonna break this boy."
Oh God!
Well, they were trained by Emma Frost, of course.
Yes, and Emma has a conversation with Scott about like, "Your boy better not hurt my girls."
Yeah.
And there's like all sorts of shenanigans, and everyone's fucking everybody, and it's all weird and awesome.
Yeah, I grabbed the 6 current volumes of Dawn of X, so I'll be able to catch up on all that.
I want to read the Sword one.
Oh, they're just starting. Cable issue 1 is the first Sword thing.
Well, and
Cable issue 2 teases it because P.S. he's tying in Rom the Space Knight.
I was about to bring that up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like what is it?
I think they don't have Rom. It's the other. It's that universe.
Yeah,
it's the other Jobber Space Knights, essentially.
Yeah, because Rom is owned by like or something like that.
I think the last ROM thing was an IDW thing.
Yeah, so literally Cable has like Cloud's Buster Sword.
Yeah.
Right now.
Oh, that's sick.
That's the first sword. And as much as I love it, like the Fantastic Four crossover just ended. And if you've ever, because Reed Richards is the worst, want to see the final like 2 pages is Magneto and Xavier. Basically, it's Magneto uses his power to unzip Xavier's fly, who then flops it out and cracks it across Reed Richards' face. And then they just walk away.
That's amazing.
I love it.
Because like they put Reed in like beyond, because Reed is like issue 1, you're like, oh no, Reed, you done fucked up to the nth level degree. And basically he's like, you just made your son an enemy. And it's like, it's interesting because it's like, oh yeah, Franklin's a fucking mutant.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, and if like the mutants are making a country and they're like, all mutants are members, where are his loyalties? And then they have a really good, Franklin has a really heavy talk with Thing where he's like, my dad's the smartest man in the world. Thing's like, yeah, of course. And he's like, then why can't he fix either of us? And then Thing just is like, and Thing's like, because like it's hard. It's like, is it, or is he just not trying? And Thing is just silent. And just like, oh yeah, that's something that no one has really talked about. It's like, how has Reed not been able to just fix Thing? Like he could do everything else.
Because Reed's impotent. My whole thing with Hickman, like, or at least buying individual issues, is just Hickman. I need to have all of the story in front of me, or I'll lose my mind, because he takes his time in telling a story. So stuff that happens in like the second issue won't have repercussions until like the 20th, and it's just like I can't wait that long. I can't wait that long. I hate my life. Yeah.
They're doing like a whole.
Half of my love for East and West is going back and rereading it and being like, oh, I missed that completely. I missed that stuff that they set up in like issue 1 about the King of New Africa, is it?
Mm-hmm. No, the King of New Orleans.
King of New Orleans. And the Native American character, Crow, I think is his name.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Like they set that up in like first issue or the second issue or something like that, and I completely missed that in my first run through because I wasn't looking for it. But that relationship makes so much more sense, and how that plays out.
That's one of the things that's hard to read with the X-Men books, because like every issue in like all of the books has like 2 to 3 pages of literal just text to read. And it's like hard to force yourself to read that, but there's so much nuance going on in those things.
It does feel like maybe Hickman should just be writing regular novels sometimes.
Sometimes.
But I love like his Twitter is like, I keep trying to get them to fire me. Like, I don't know what I have to do. Like, I had 2 islands fuck. Like, I have like everybody else fucking everybody.
Speaking of fucking, is there anything else anybody wants to cover? Do we wrap this up?
I mean, I do have some breaking news.
Wilfred Brimley.
Yeah, Wilfred Brimley's he's
done so.
Dead.
Oh no, diabetes.
Exactly. Yeah.
How old is he?
108.
No, that's the thing. He wasn't that old. Well, no,
He was old in the Thing.
But he wasn't that old then.
No, he was like 40.
He was born in 1934, Eric.
Yeah, but
he was born before World War II.
Yeah,
I didn't because I thought I'd read somewhere that like he wasn't all that old when he did that.
He's 85 years old. He was 85 years old.
That's actually younger than I thought.
Yeah, he was 40 during the thing.
It's still old.
He was 40 for like 50 years.
How old? No, well, he's one of those guys that he was born and he was like a child, and then he turned like 48. Like he just at like 22, he was 48.
Right, exactly.
And he just stayed that age for forever.
Yeah,
it's like Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell was like 30, and then he's just been like 50 for the last like 30 years.
Yeah. God,
exactly.
I'm looking at his IMDb. I forgot he was in that Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, Hard Target.
Yes, he is.
That's not even a bad one.
No, it's not. It's actually
no. There are bad
John
ones.
Woo,
That's not a bad one.
It's John Woo, and it's a John Woo movie through and through. Like,
is there doves?
Oh shit! Yeah, there's doves or pigeons. Or
there are so many doves.
There's
Wilford
birds.
Brimley plays a Cajun man.
Oh yes, that's the number one mullet Van Damme movie. That's the movie. If you ever seen the GIF where he punches a snake,
Yes,
that's that movie.
He knocks a snake out and hangs it from a branch as a trap for a henchman.
You're skipping a part. He punches a snake in the bayou, which is a rattlesnake, and then rips off the rattle and then ties it to a tree.
Yes, so that a henchman can get bitten by it. It's fantastic. It's so good.
It's
that movie,
the only movie where they tried to explain his accent by making him Cajun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not the same accent as Belgian.
So they pull that a lot because I watched the Pittsburgh Penguins one where they say that he's they say that he's French Canadian. You said that
that one he's French Canadian. And that is oh my god, because it's a play on what do you call it? Final.
Right, it's final death or something. Final.
Yeah.
Something, whatever.
It's like a sports term because he actually talks French to a real Penguins hockey player. I think it's like Mario Lemieux is in it playing an actual Pittsburgh Penguin.
Yeah,
so the movie where Jean-Claude Van Damme plays a Pittsburgh. What is he? He's like a fire marshal.
He's a fire marshal because he has PTSD from a bad fire that he.
That's his fucking job. That's his fucking job.
But Eric, he got trapped in the building with somebody he was going in there to save, and he had to be demoted. But they let him keep his job.
Oh, sudden death.
That's
the one where the bad guy is the greatest bad guy of all time because he's the bad guy at everything. Powers Booth.
Right. It's Powers Booth. Yes.
Let's save this for our new
Van JCVD cast.
Yeah, the Van Damme cast.
The Van Damme cast.
You say that, but do not make me have that.
No,
right.
We're not.
Me and Lou might do this. We might do the Van Damme cast.
Cool. Well, for once, I'm going to make the proclamation. You can do that talk off air. I'm Eric Fedorchuk. You can find me at Eric_Fedor on Instagram. There's pictures of dogs and cats and food and comics. You can also find me floating around the family. My thing and stuff, and mostly I'm just reading comics at this point. R.I.P. It's cold. I want to come in now.
It's cold. I want to go inside now. You can find me when I'm not doing the Lost Horror podcast, which has a James Bond episode that will happen as soon as our guest watches the movies.
Listen.
It's okay.
I'm still waiting to do that. The greatest, worst James Bond movie.
Oh, you just
the most problematic
episode is gonna have 5 people on it.
Yeah, that one has gotten multiple requests from people.
Oh no, I'm talking about the one where they literally the plot is whitewashing.
That one's gonna have 7 people on it, probably.
Yeah, because I think Issa wanted to be on that one.
God, that's a good episode right there.
That's gonna be a party. But when I'm not doing that, you can see me drinking the wines of Charles Smith, who does local Washington wines. That's a plug for wine, but I don't give a shit. Because I am drunk. So,
are they actually any good?
They're actually I like about half. So
nice.
That's not a bad ratio.
And and I'm trying to do mostly local wine. So
that's very good. I try to do that too.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my plugs.
Fight. No, come on. Who's going next? Who?
America Boy. Teespring.com/America's Boyfriend. Go buy a t-shirt.
Can you get a mask also?
You can get face masks. I have face masks.
Can I get a face mask that just says I am tall boy?
No. You can get one with a bootleg of Game Boy Advance on it though.
I want one with a picture of you from middle school or high school.
I can actually do that.
I would totally wear that just so I can explain. Yeah, it's my friend from New England.
That state.
I just want one that says tall boy, but it's like a pixel art but your shoulders are like at the top, and you can't even see your head. It's cut off.
Yeah. Hunter, not to turn this into a big conversation, but that same podcast I was listening to earlier, they called your state the Texas of New England.
It kind of is. Here's the thing. I'll get into this on another podcast, but it kind of is.
It's gonna be. You're gonna get into it in our JCVD cast.
Lou, did you have one?
Damn it.
Yeah, so check out all the other podcasts on. We have the comic show. We're going to be talking about Green Hornet. I do want to say a lot of breweries are doing this thing called basically this one brewery put out this recipe, and they're calling it Black is Beautiful, and a bunch of breweries are making this beer. I have some in my fridge.
Nice.
100% of the proceeds are going to raise awareness for injustices and for basically going towards local charities to help police brutality and legal defenses for people who are wronged.
Awesome.
The beer is called Black is Beautiful. So you can find it. A lot of local breweries all over the country are doing it. It is a stout. I know it's summer. It's like 102 in some parts of the country. But it is a very good tasting beer. And yeah, it's something you could do. I'm trying my best to support local businesses during this time, and especially local businesses owned by Black and non-white ownership.
Nothing wrong with saying it that way.
Yeah.
Too.
But yeah, and you can go on there if you know someone who works at or owns a brewery. You can sign up your brewery and then get access to the recipe.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Although I'd like to point out that all beers matter, and Weissner, a white is beautiful
All
beer.
right. I think we can do that now.
And where's my white is beautiful beer with a dream?
No, stop. No. I'm shutting that shit down.
Oh, and if you want to find out all about this, follow me at young_Kami on Twitter and Instagram. And you can find me. I have 4 different Facebook profiles.
Yeah.
Just look for Hunter Davenport, Hunter D. Davenport, the Hunter Davenport, or whatever Hunter Davenports exists.
Yes. All Hunter Davenports are 100 Davenport.
He creates a new profile for every 2 feet he is tall.
Yeah.
Well, I hope everybody had fun. Good night, everybody.
Bye. I want to come inside now.
Adios.